remember when we were strong. Back in the days before King Tenebrae and his royal guard, and the people of Amosran took up their own arms for fun and profit. Before all that, it was just us, the Viridian Outriders. We kept the roads and trails safe and secure, with homes and forts scattered about and locales civilized and not. Time passed, and we have been replaced. And yet, I hear the rumblings and murmurs of the roads being less safe than they had been. Monsters sniffing around in smaller towns and magic acting oddly. Who knows? Maybe we'll be needed again. Hello, and welcome back to Another Path. My name is Chase, and I remain your GM. Today, we rejoin our heroes as a triad as they try and make sense of what happened to the city of Lutome, and as they make their return home, ready to set out again. But in the midst of that, we will also be meeting a new friend, Brother Lobazan, played by the absolutely phenomenal Leeman Kessler, who you may also know as Mayor Lovecraft on TikTok. Thank you to our backers, Carlin, Veronica, and Ice Tier Brewing for their support. If you like what you hear, consider donating to us at patreon.com/ghostlightmedia, and maybe try checking out some of the other shows on the network. And with that, sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip down Another Path.
Hey, Justin, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, so as you're playing Patrick Star every single night of the week for the foreseeable future, do they rip your arms off and let you regrow them, or no?
I'm not sure how much you know about sea creature husbandry, but they don't do that to starfish. Just like go into an aquarium at night and they're just like, all right, good night, starfish.
Part of me wants that to be the entire intro. Like, if Chase faded into the episode right now, I wouldn't be mad. That's so
I
fucking
would be mad.
Holy shit.
So it's I'm sorry, it's your legs then? They pull off a leg? They pull your leg to break your leg?
I'm sorry, this is not the SpongeBob Mafia. Because I don't know about no starfish mafia.
This is what we call in the industry a hard pivot. Hard pivot.
I don't know if I've said this on mic before. I had a realization somewhat recently of like I know what my starter would be. Like, if I showed up in a Pokemon game, like if I were a trainer in a Pokemon setting and you encountered me on a battlefield, I know what my ace would be. And I don't know why it was this, but it's Skidoo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
it
big
is.
Griffin energy.
Go-Goat's decent, though.
Right? But, like, I don't know why. I was never a grass kid.
You are not a grass
I was always
type.
a water kid. But, like, Skidoo, like, has my whole
But
heart
were
and
you
soul.
a goat kid?
No.
Well, I don't know.
I just love that little boy. He's great.
He's a good little boy.
He's a good little boy. Comes with a big goat.
Mine would be Elekid.
I could see you having the dual Elekid and Magby.
No,
like,
fuck Magby. But, like, Elekid, like... Oh.
Not Jigglypuff, my boy?
Oh, Jigglypuff, like, that's just for trolling. But, like,
It's on the team.
I love Electivire. So, like,
Yeah.
Elekid is just like, wah.
I'm definitely the guy running around early game that somehow has a Dratini. You're like, where did
No
you
one
find
knows
this blue
how.
snake?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I found it. It's mine now.
It's mine now.
It's mine now.
I found it.
I found it.
Put a little rope around it, didn't have no Pokeballs.
Build a little fence around it.
Just slithered right
Throw a
out.
little blanket over it.
Chase, what's your soul Pokemon?
It's tough, obviously. Gun to my head, Abra.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because like one, I love that evolutionary line, especially now that there are like some canonical ways to evolve it without trading it, which was always the worst part.
It is the worst.
Chase loves cereal.
Love cereal. Hey, look, ain't nothing wrong with cereal.
Because Alakazam's got his 2 spoons. He's ready.
Yeah. He's very good.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew exactly where you were going.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking? Can you evolve Abra by feeding him cereal?
No, you evolve Kadabra by giving him a spoon.
Yeah.
It's in Arceus, I think, where they started doing that.
We don't know how he got the other one. He just found it.
He became a bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, shit.
All right.
Yo, I got a spoon.
The Viridian Outriders have served many purposes over the years. Guardians, soldiers, scouts, and rescuers. While the Kingsguard has taken the bulk of these duties in the past several years, leaving the Outriders effectively to decay away, every so often they find themselves in their old work. Today is one of those days. The city of Lootholm has been left for ruin, and they have found what was left. As the ruins of Lootholm smolder, order begins to be established once again. Where once about 50 people lived, only 10 survive. They sit in tents and wagons, away from the ruins of their homes, clutching what few personal effects remain. Some weep. Others are beyond tears and look bleakly into the distance. Our three heroes stand with the rest of the assembled Outriders and the remnants of Lootholm's town hall. Harper, the halfling artificer, kneels on her steel defender tortoise, Ignis, for an equitable look at the proceedings. Cecil, the human sorcerer, stands near the front of the pack, watching their high captain, Luca, with a calculated look. Arabin, the Azamar Hexblade warlock, lurks near the back, with an eye on his two closest companions. The town hall ruins smolder, and yet they stand. Harper and those assigned to her command worked a miracle in preserving the space, but the weakened wood will let entropy win out. Not tonight, but eventually. Luca glowers. He has been precious with his words since he and Arabin returned from the forest, and speaking with Cecil. After a sigh, he breaks his silence. Viridian Outriders, what happened today is beyond maddening. It has been decades since I have seen carnage akin to this. This was a village of craftspeople, hardly even a city watch to speak of. Homes have been razed to the ground. Some valuables have been stolen, but most simply destroyed. There are only 3 reasons for an attack like this: removing witnesses, sending a message, or testing their abilities. It could be any of those. It could be all of those. But knowing is not for now. I've dispatched word to the seat, and a lead team back to Bering, and to all cities in between to warn them of what we have seen here. Tomorrow, we ride hard for home. I will assign watches. Outriders, dismissed. Luca escorts himself to the back of the town hall and appears to sit at a desk and just start writing. What do you all do?
Once I see Arabin and Cecil again, I go running over to them because I haven't seen them since we all got dispatched.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think it's just at the point Harper, who is sweating, like bandana, like tied up, her hair is up, has fully shed armor, is in full work attire, spear slung over her back, kind of like walks up to you two exhausted. Oh my god, thank god. Okay, hi friends. Are we okay? Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Cecil is notably bleeding and singed.
What the
Cecil,
hell happened to you?
You need a medic?
little bit. That'd be nice. I went down to the basement because there was a kid down there. Got the kid out. But why don't you guys come down and see for yourself? And I just kind of turn around and start walking down the steps back down to the cellar of that building.
I'll grab Iggy and Cecil. If you're cool with this, I can catch up and Harper will hit you with a cure wounds.
Oh, thank God.
Take back 9.
Cool. I'm
I
at
hadn't rolled it.
9. Cool. I'm in double digits now.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God.
The sorcerer got into melee combat.
Sure
That's
did.
That's never okay.
Sorcerer took himself to the basement.
How many times is Cecil gonna almost die?
Like, we're up to like 3, I think.
It's been bad.
Chase is getting out years of pent-up frustration for never being able to kill Jackson.
Look, it's not my fault that Cecil keeps ending up in the way.
Cecil does not want to be in the way. They just are.
Chase is like, oh, your AC is only 10? Too bad all of my things have plus 10 to their attack.
That sucks, doesn't it? So I lead everybody, well, this group back down. The stairs are kind of broken and beat up, and we get down to the basement, and there's a partial cave in on one side, and there's the fire is. I think we put the fire out mostly.
Yeah, the fire is out.
Okay.
The city is smoldering, but not actively burning. And what the two of you see is a sight that you have each individually become familiar with in your own way. A body wearing red armor, where the only insignia is a black spot in the center of the chest.
So you had to fight one of these guys too?
There were more?
There were 2 in the woods. Luca and I took care of them.
Oh, you fought one? You fought 2 of them?
Yeah. There was something not right about those guys.
I found a body around the town hall after making sure it didn't collapse. He was dead by the time I got there, but
they were moving.
So Cecil, did you have a scrape with this one?
Yes, I had a scrape with this one. Cecil steps over to the red corpse. So there's 4 then. That's 4 more than there should be. The short version is Luca and I have dealt with this before.
Really?
You've dealt with this before?
Yes, many, many years ago. It's kind of a blur. That's why I ended up behind a desk, honestly.
Well, what do you know? I mean, these guys, there was something magical about them. They were moving fast and robotically, and they were stronger than any bandit I've seen before.
Yeah, there was some weird magic that I got sort of inklings of off that one body.
Yeah, there's... I need to get back and consult my notes a bit more to make sure we know everything. Lucas and I we'll have to pull out all the old reports. But there was a device that appeared, device, amulet, stone, orb, something. We didn't know exactly what it was or what it was called, so we called it the Erskine device. It could give people superpowers. I'm not talking about magic. I'm not talking about, just someone casting spells. It got inside of you and it could make you... It changed you and it husked you out and it turned you into this thing. Super soldier's a good word. You could say magically enhanced. We didn't know exactly how it worked, but we were tasked to retrieve it. The 3 of us were myself and Luca and Sterling.
Oh, right.
That's how long ago it was, and we thought it exploded. We saw it explode, but then we had to drag Sterling out of there, and it was very messy. It was very, very messy, and a lot of things had to get covered up and written over. And, well, we thought it was done, and it had been done until today. We see this. So we're going to take at least this body back. Some folks should be along in a minute to get it, but
I also had another body that I brought back with me.
great, fantastic.
He doesn't really have a head anymore.
That's fine. We don't need that. Well, actually, no. There's a question there. Did the head come off because you made it come off, or did something else happen?
Yeah, I might have had a part in it.
Okay. So, well, you killed him by decapitation rather than like you hamstrung him and then the head just fell off of its own volition.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What's everybody's passive perception?
9.
11.
Ignis's is 16.
Good thing he can talk like Meowth.
That's right.
No.
Ignis's head perks up and looks towards the door. Seeing that, Cecil, you look as well as you see Luca coming down the stairs.
Any more? You found any more bodies?
No
Up
more.
to 4? 4? Just the 4? Okay.
Four bodies,
Fair.
but who knows how many got away.
Fair. We'll take however many back as we can and then start doing tests, experiments, see what we can find out.
I've sent, like I said, I sent a scout forward to back up to the seat. I'm going to have another go back with one of these strapped up.
Good.
Casta, we've got a...
Straight to Sterling.
Yeah. I'd send you, but I need you back at the
Yes.
crypt. We've got to get working on the other burning fire in our backyard.
Yes, we've got 2 now.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. Seeker Meredith has been putting together an expedition squad for when we get back, so we can rest up for a day or two, turn around, head back out.
Okay.
Well,
That's good. That's good. Jeez.
it's really happening, isn't it?
Do you think these two things could be connected? I don't know much about magic, but when I'm fighting it, it all seems the same.
It's possible, but I don't know.
Anything's possible at this point. We don't have any answers for the first one, and then this other unexplainable magic thing happens that we'd written off as done and complete for decades. Who knows at this point? So many things have been wrong or not given us clear answers in the last couple of weeks, and I'm not writing off anything. Look, we just saw a giant whale in a fishbowl that was somehow electric. I'm not writing off anything.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't actually started your report yet, Cecil.
Yeah.
So...
Get ready.
Oh, there's some good stuff in there.
Okay.
Get a drink, just so that you can comprehend it. But shit got weird, Luca. Not this weird, more kooky weird, but...
Yeah, if you think, like, Ignis is weird, like, Dieter made some kind of out-of-pocket shit.
No, I picked up on that, but I'll read it. I'll read it later.
It was a cowboy cat.
I think you were briefly also a cowboy cat.
Well, yeah. But not really.
It was very good.
Luca just kind of stands there dumbfounded for a minute and is like, just nods. Yeah, I'm gonna... Hey, can you come on down here and grab the... Thank you. And a couple other outriders come down and heft the body and take it back to your camp outside of town.
Chase, while we're down here, can I hit a quick detect magic?
Yeah, go for it.
Just to see if anything stands out that, like, we might have missed, like that maybe Cecil might have missed while almost being murdered.
Sure
Was.
You spend that. It's the magnifying glass, right?
It's a little magnifying glass with like a tuning fork on the end.
Okay, I was remembering both of them at the same time. I was like, why am I remembering both? It's because it's both.
Because it's the same thing.
Yeah, you strike that tuning fork and...
Like, Cecil, do you know why, I guess, what brought you down here in the first place? And did you just find the guy down here? Did he follow you down here?
Heard a kid crying down here and went to save him, and there was one of these red figures down here. I don't know what else could be down here. It's worth a look. Didn't really have time.
Was the guy going after the kid?
I'm not sure, honestly. There was fire, and there was a kid, and then...
What you're picking up with that tuning fork, it is... Actually, give me a investigation check there, Harper.
I will assist you.
Cool. It's a nat 1, but I'm lucky.
Yep, so you reroll ones.
That is going to be a 22.
Okay, with a 20. Go ahead and roll again, because Cecil's giving you an assist.
Not as high as 22.
22 it is. It's faint. It's very faint. But you are picking up that same infernal energy that you were getting last time with the other body.
Yeah, I mean, the same sort of stink that was on the guy that I found is lingering here.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't come as to too much of a surprise.
It is a very specific magical odor. I don't even know what to call it. Stink's good.
Right now, the stink is mostly comprised of what I gathered, sort of a weird mix of abjuration and evocation. So those are a little, not diametrically opposed, but they're kind of counter to each other a lot of the time. But then also some like definitive like necromantic.
Yes.
Sort of. So like equal part stank of kind of those three schools of magic. And it just reeks of like demon shit.
Yes.
I don't even know what demon shit smells like, but from what I've like read about, it smells like this.
This is what what it smelled like back then too. Closely.
As soon as you mention demon, Arabin goes from a glazed look of not understanding to like concerned.
Well,
so you think there might be something demonic with these guys?
So
I don't know.
With them or their leader or their cult or the Erskine device or some changes done to the Erskine device, whatever. I don't know. They couldn't, the ones that were affected were not in complete control of themselves. They were more, I don't know, goon. Very obedient.
Pliable.
Pliable's a good word. Thank you, Harper.
I like words.
Yeah, when Luca and I saw them, it wasn't like they made a conscious decision of seeing somebody and attacking. It's just like they were programmed to do it.
Yes, it's good.
Don't like that, gotta say.
No, I didn't think I'd have to see this again. Right. Well, we rest and we ride. We did save Loot Center, though. The Loot Center is safe, so...
Well, that's good.
Yes. They can return here and continue to make a living.
Just don't play Smoke on the Water in there. They get really annoyed.
I was trying so hard to figure out the Guitar Center joke, and it just clicked, and fucking Chase snuck in and beat me to it.
Oh, the second he said Loot Center, I got so mad.
It took me a minute.
He named it Loot Town.
It took me a minute. It's loot. First of all, it's Loot Home. Second of all, I was like, oh yeah, that's where they keep all their loot, like all the spoils, all the goods.
Oh yeah, the Dragon's Hoard.
Yeah, when Chase first called it Loot Home, I was like, they're looting the homes? Like no. Oh, like the instrument.
I mean,
like
yes,
instrument.
but no.
Well, I am done in this bad basement. I'm good to get out of here.
Does anybody else have anything they would like to do here in town?
No.
No.
Nope.
Check on Katie. But yeah, besides that, just bunk out and call it a very bad day.
You find Katie passed out in a tent. She had been crying a little bit. You can see her face is very red and she is just spent.
I just pull the blanket up a little bit and tuck her in a little bit. Find a glass of water and leave it by her.
You all bed down for the night. And very quickly take off the next morning. The camera pulls away from the ruins of Loot Home and flies south. Trees whip and whirl by as we flash a few days south, not quite to the Sitting of Bering, but close. Nestled in the woods is a small and comfortable home. Inside, packing for a day's journey into town, is a gnome. Leeman. Please describe Brother Lobazan.
So Brother Lobazon is unassuming. That's sort of blends in. Not dressed particularly outlandish, perhaps a little old-fashioned, but everything is nice. Everything is, if not, fastidious. Like the laces are very efficiently tied. Nothing is dangling. No like loose buttons. The sort of Chester A. Arthur, mutton chops he's got going on. Are not standing straight out a foot in either direction, but they're respectable. You would sort of look at this person and you think, oh, this could be a wealthy farmer, this could be a merchant who's just not particularly flashy, and a more discerning eye notices they're armed and well prepared for travel and for being out and about for extended periods.
It's about 2 or 3 hours trek into the city of Bering for you. A healthy, walk or ride, however you would presume to get there, but decent enough that I don't think Brother Lobazon would go into town terribly often. However, there are some things you cannot find in the woods, and necessity does occasionally require him to go into town. What do you think he would be taking with him?
So when going into town, I think for the most part it's a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. Not like prepper fill in the cargo pants. Mm-hmm. But there's just enough stuff that if anything goes down, that he's prepared. Mm-hmm. And again, there's a sense of planning. There's a sense of vigilance, not paranoia. He's not got the 10-foot pole and the pythons. But, he might have a little, extra ration bars kind of like, stashed in various places, and would have, if he is going to get caught out of doors and have to sleep, he's got enough material on him that he could do that comfortably, and be able to, keep important things dry and things like that.
Highly practical.
Yes.
Absolutely. As Brother Lobazon finishes packing, he hears a telltale patter outside that you've become accustomed to over the past few weeks. You look out your window and you see what would have been a couple of weeks ago a pretty odd sight, but has not become commonplace, but at least not entirely unexpected. An otter, probably about your height, riding on the back of a relatively flat-faced dog as it pads up to your home. These individuals showed up, we'll go ahead and say about a month or so, maybe a little bit longer ago. Near humanoid intelligence, with at least a grasp of common if they cannot speak it themselves. Something about their vocal cords doesn't seem to let them enunciate the way that most humanoids do, but they clearly understand you when you talk to them, and they have established a rough trading relationship, more an exchange of favors than goods. You see this individual is wearing some kind of rough spun clothes from whatever they've been able to scavenge from within the woods. And you see that this one rides up and has a basket of berries.
I will inspect these berries with a degree of calm now that I've become used to this. Now, otters don't count as small beasts as far as my gnomish ability, correct?
No, and especially not this one. This is fully your height, like ascending from beasthood fully into some kind of humanoid.
Excellent. I will, carry on the whatever has become accustomed bit of business. I don't know if how much haggling this pair expects, but we'll carry that on.
Yeah, there's a couple of these otter folk and dog creatures out in the woods. This otter hands you the basket and just kind of gestures to his clothes and just...
your outfit you want. All right. I go and rummage through some, some of the material that I sort of set aside perhaps to do some light mending. Mm-hmm. and bring out a little selection of what might potentially fit, and I'll hold up and see what strikes the otter's fancy for barter.
Absolutely. Let me quick roll here. Yeah. As the otter kind of looks through, they're able to find some trousers and a sensible shirt that works well enough. And he points to both and gives you a little clawed thumbs up.
Looking at the sort of the clothes that he has on, like, does it suggest who else he has been trading with? Does it suggest, like, is it, kind of a motley assortment, or does it all seem to be the rough homespun native wear?
Give me an insight check.
All right, can do.
Yeah.
Nope, that is a critical failure. right out the gate, which the rest of my gaming group here at home would say is par for the course for Leeman.
Yay!
I'm that guy at the table.
Oh, good.
Very popular when I'm GMing. Let me tell you.
Yeah, hey, I feel that. You're trying to size up. The last time you saw one of these individuals, they did not have nearly as much like completed. They had like basic, like almost like a loincloth situation. So they're clearly already moving up in the world based on just whatever their situation happens to be. I think you're probably a little taken aback or surprised just by how far they've come in even just a pretty short amount of time.
I imagine the critical failure that sort of comes across as just sort of like creepily staring and ogling, which probably does not do well for.
Yep. Let me do a roll for that. Let me see. You raise a valid point, and I won't punish you too poorly for it.
I'm just saying, as a GM, I gotta see what those critical failures do.
Absolutely. Yeah. This otter individual sizes you up and down as well, and just. And gives you the double thumbs up, puts the shirt and trousers into a makeshift bag that they have kind of put together, and hops back up on this very odd looking dog and gives you one last nod and rides off into the woods.
Alrighty.
And yeah, you are left to your day. You're heading into town. What kind of provisions do you think Brother Lobazan would be going to hunt down?
So I think it's going to be things that aren't easily found out here. So, nails, sort of copper wire, just little kind of craftsy business that just, it's too difficult. Certain kinds of fuel, those kind of practical sort of to-dos. And also, I think part of it is going into town to just to see and get a sense of what the mood of the town is, and if there's not necessarily belling up to the bar and asking for the latest gossip, but just sort of taking the temperature of things, getting a sense if there's tension, if there's a festival that's coming around, just sensing those kind of just those patterns and things like that.
Absolutely. Like I said, it takes a couple hours to make your way from your home all the way into town. It's about midday when you get there. Finding what you need is as easy as walking into the central market. You're not looking for anything crazy or out of the ordinary. It's the typical things that folks would need. While there is certainly not an Ace Hardware, Bering is well known for being a big hub for traders to stop moving between the seat and St. Yogan, the capital city of Amosrin. You're able to find your bits and bobs, your nails and whatnot with relative ease. And where would you go to kind of take the temperature?
I guess if there's sort of either a common square where there's a lot of people milling about and movement,
sure,
or if there's a business, if there is like the straightforward tavern or churchyard,
sure.
But essentially, the equivalent of like where you could get kind of that long perspective, sort of long perspective, right? Like sort of see the biggest group of people.
Absolutely. For the widest census, for lack of a better term, what you'd be looking for there, definitely hanging out in town square would be, in that market, would be the biggest thing. So you grab a seat on a fountain and start to look around. Go ahead and give me I mean, you tell me, what kind of check do you think you would make in order to gather that gossip?
So I think I'm trying to think of this because investigation is doing sort of the active trying to figure stuff out. But I think this is more perception. I think this is more sort of like opening himself up to the vibration, going into kind of that meditative training that he has, and just looking for the patterns, looking for the webs of connection is the sort of the central metaphor of his faith. So, all right. So perception would be what I would go for.
Okay, there we go.
That's better. All right. So that is a dirty 20.
Excellent. With the dirty 20, you just kind of sit back and allow yourself to kind of blend into the surroundings a little bit, really trying to get that feel. And you pick up a really good bit of what's been going on. There is a tea shop in town that you've probably been to a time or two, called Cecil's Steeping Scrolls. And Cecil has been notably absent for quite a while now. You pick up, because you did get that 20, that the Outriders have actually been, or a good portion of the Outriders have been gone from the city for quite some time. There was some rumblings not too long before they left that they had found something of note that was taking them up to the seat. Which is unusual. You've had run-ins with the Outriders before, and I imagine that your interactions would have been wholly, if not at least largely good. Actually, I forgot to ask this. How old is Brother Lobazan?
Lobazan, has that sort of like gnomish quality of looking like he could be either, 12 or 50.
Absolutely.
But falls pretty squarely in at about 35.
Sure. You would have known they were a much more active group when you were very, very young. But in the past several years, that their influence has waned, being replaced by the Kingsguard in many instances. They used to be really well known for patrolling the roads, keeping cities safe and whatnot, but not too long after your birth, well, maybe into your early teens, that Kingsguard really started ramping up. And since then, membership has dropped. So it is certainly unusual, but not out of the utter question that they could have found something worthy of note. But with Cecil gone, it looks like the shop has been left in the hands of some of the teens that he hires in town to keep an eye on things. And as far as you can tell, you haven't gone in yourself yet, but the place does at least appear to be standing. So probably a good job at this point.
I'll follow in. I could use a cup of tea. Noticing that oddness, noticing the out of places. Is the Kingsguard presence particularly strong in this town?
Give me another perception check. Great question.
Okay. All right. Oh, there you go. That's a 22.
You've definitely seen a couple of Kingsguard walking around. They are not incredibly present. There's also a substantial city guard.
Okay.
They are fairly lackadaisical in their work, but they do tend to keep the peace. And peace is not terribly difficult to keep here because this is such a hub for people who, like you, kind of live out in more extended areas. It is generally agreed upon that one doesn't shit where they eat, so they don't like having a whole lot of trouble in here, even those that are maybe a little bit less within the law.
All right. Well, I'll make note of that, but otherwise I will make my way in for a cup of tea.
You walk in, and it is certainly busy, but not like the usual, like, neat and orderly busy that you're used to. You probably have met Cecil a time or two if you're a tea drinker. He is an older, kind of fastidious human, very much in a similar vein. Very well-kempt, has a professorly vibe to him. He is clearly not here. There is a harried-looking human girl, probably 17, 18, if even that, standing behind the bar up top, where people are being served. There is a young halfling male, can't be older than like 16, standing on a series of crates behind, just kind of leaping from one to the other, getting stuff mixed up. and you approach the bar, and this young woman looks down, and it's like, "Oh, hello there. How can I help you today?"
I'll make my order and sort of try to find a rhythm, not to make her, add to her harriedness, but sort of casually, ask, it's very busy, how much longer is your master away with all this?
I think he should be back soon. I just saw that Seeker Meredith posted something up on the wall over there. It seems to hint that they might be coming back pretty soon. So
excellent. You look like you could use the help.
Always. But it's fine. It's fine. The place is standing. I have continued to pay everybody and make people pay, which, by the way, 2 gold, please.
All right.
And takes your tender and asks you to stand to the side, and eventually this young halfling comes up and brings you a glass of tea, a toast mortem, which is something that is a newer addition to the menu but seems to be selling fairly well, and a selection of pickled mushrooms, which has been fairly popular, kind of a staple item for the location.
I'll sort of take everything, kind of again flow out of the way of the busyness and traffic, and kind of weave again, not ostentatiously, but again just sort of getting out of the larger legs ways, and yes, casually making my way towards this notice to see sort of what so struck her about it.
Absolutely. You see the notice that she had pointed out. It's right there on the back of the door. You can't miss it. It is a notice that the Outriders are pulling together capable individuals for an expedition. It seems that rumor you heard in town about the Outriders finding something is absolutely true. They are looking for people to assist them in their endeavors to explore it more further. It is an underground ruin location. There seem to be some odd magics going on, so anybody that has any capabilities with survivalism, working in dark or tight spaces, anybody who has, specifically they call out are people who have experience with transmutation magics. Specifically, it seems like there's some kind of a connection there.
Is that school of magic something that's prominent in the area? Is it something that there's,
No.
Interesting.
That would 100% put up, maybe not a red flag, but like a beige flag, that's something.
And the Outrider sort of reputation, besides sort of the fact that it's dwindling, what's the sort of the current vibe about, are they seen as kind of being reduced to sort of treasure hunters, or
more irrelevant than anything else, okay. Unfortunately. The big thing is, people don't are occasionally surprised to find out that they're even still around, let alone doing well or doing anything.
Okay. All right. And is there anything that would be known about this, the seeker who came back? Presumably who put up this note.
Go ahead and give me a history check.
Oh, all right. That is the natural 20, which my friends back home will not believe, but there it is.
I did see the 20, friends at home. I have seen it visibly. So I will say with the nat 20, you have actually met Seeker Meredith a handful of times over the years. She is considered among the old guard for the local Outriders. And there's a handful of folks that showed up right around the same time or within the same decade or so, when that tight crew is still there kind of holding down the fort. Seeker Meredith is a strong, very to the point woman who hails from even further north of the seat. She is known for taking new initiates under her wing, making sure that they are safe and secure and well established within the Outriders. She's a bit of a stickler for certain things, but is also willing to bend rules as she sees fit, because she's been around long enough to know which rules she's allowed to break. It does not surprise you at all to find that she is in charge of putting this expedition together, especially if the other individuals are out of communication or are out of town. But if she is putting something up, that means something is happening.
All right. I will follow this thread where it leads and go to where I'm used to finding her. After I've finished my cup and put everything back where it goes, Lobazon is very much a self-busser.
Absolutely. And the 2 baristas in attendance are deeply appreciative of that. You tool your way out of Cecil's Steeping Scrolls and make your way back. I'm going to say with that nat 20, I'm going to let that ride. You know exactly where you need to go. Yeah. With the nat 20, you know exactly where the outpost of the Outriders is. It's an open secret in town. Back in the day, you know that it used to be very hush-hush at where all of the outposts were. Nowadays, I mean, especially with such a large portion of the population, at least in Bering, there is a good chunk of people that are members of the Outriders, just whether it's by tradition or family or whatnot. It's one of the few cities where there is still a prominent population. But you make your way out behind City Hall into a graveyard. And in the middle of the graveyard, there is a massive crypt that has doors open, fires lit, and a staircase heading down. And you waltz on into the crypt of the Outriders of Bering. You get a couple of interested looks as you make your way in, especially out of the crowd. I feel like Brother Lobazon starts to stand out just a little bit more, especially as you're moving in. You see the Outriders, which are denoted by these Viridian sashes, you know, where they take their name from. And as you make your way down the stairs and into, there is kind of a main mess hall at the base, just beyond a set of double doors. You see Seeker Meredith sitting at a high table talking with a couple of people, and double takes at you, because I feel like even though you have been down here before, it is certainly not common for you to just kind of pop in. Oh, brother, what are you doing here today?
I saw your note at the tea shop.
Ah, I should have thought of you, yes. No, I understand. You're interested in helping us out, then?
I'm certainly interested in learning more. It's not every day that the Outriders assemble for such a venture, and transmutation magics and dark caves, it's all very unusual.
Indeed it is. You know, I was hoping that Luca would be back to help with this, but still working his way back from the seat with the rest of the crew. But, I mean, here's the situation. We've got one of our number ended up, very long story short, experiment went wrong, but we found this massive network of ruins underground. We have no idea who they were made by, how they got there, or what is going to need to be done in order to actually figure out, you know, who created them and what importance they may have.
It sounds like quite the mystery.
The buildings seem to have some strange magic about them, and there's denizens which do not appear to have intelligence but carry malice. It's hard to say.
Can you describe those denizens?
No, not sort of. Not really. I haven't seen them myself. I have not been out there firsthand, so for some reason, they don't like individuals of my vintage doing wet work anymore. She only seems lightly grumpy about that. No check required. She shrugs and presses on. Their appearance seems to be shifting and changing constantly. They have some abilities that allow them to change and work against the way that magic normally happens. Again, it's very odd. Like I wish I could be more descriptive, but until I get the chance to get out there myself, that's what we're working with.
Well, if you're seeking individuals to help with such an expedition, I'd be more than willing to offer my own services. I don't know what the commitment you're looking for is, but I have some time, and this seems worth investigating.
An immediate expedition will be forthcoming probably within the next month or so. Like I said, Luca's bringing the rest of the crew back to town here. Not many gone, but enough that we do sorely miss them, and we don't want to move forward without them. particularly all of the individuals who found it will probably want to go back out there, and they were up there being honored, bringing glory to the Viridian Outriders, and she's waving her hands in the air, like, whatever. She never had much time for the pomp and circumstance of it all, but does enjoy the ritual, at least to a degree. She sighs and shrugs, but looking like probably in the next week or two we'll know a little bit more about the specifics. I can send a runner out to you once we know what's going on. Pay, of course, will be commensurate with whatever work we ends up getting done. So I can't promise a hard amount right now, but I know it's going to be at least north of 100 gold. They got the king involved, so we've got king money, and, always helps when we're paying with him.
What is the king's interest in this?
Oh, I mean, I haven't spoken to the man myself. It's been a while since he was among our ranks. But I imagine, anybody else's interest. He wants to know what was going on in this land that he and his family have hitherto been unaware of. If something was going on in your backyard a couple 100 years ago and suddenly you find evidence of it, you're going to want to go do a little digging.
Indeed. Well, thank you. I would appreciate
of course,
being able to learn more. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll send a rider on out once we know when, and we'll probably have you meet up at the dig site there once we've got that a bit better secured.
Alrighty. Lobzon will exit and make his way sort of back towards town. Is there any kind of library, academy, any sort of, arcane center, arcane learning?
Not quite out here. Oddly, the closest thing to that you would find here in town would be Cecil Steeping Scrolls.
Okay.
Yep. He has a fine collection of used books. Knowing that Cecil has been gone for a little while, you're not 100% sure about how well things have been organized in the intermediary, but it's the biggest collection of volumes.
Then Lobazon will make his way back to the tea shop. Again, sort of getting out of the way, bypassing the bar and not bothering anyone there.
Sure.
But we'll begin looking to see just what Cecil has collected on folk tales.
Folk tales? Interesting. Okay. Go ahead and give me... I'll say this is an investigation check.
Yeah. Of course, well, that's not terrible, but that's a 14.
14? Collections of folk tales you've got a couple of options here. What are you looking for?
So I'm looking for anything that is local, or at least seems localish to the area. So nothing that's too outlandish. But just kind of going through and that sense of changing, that sense of form shifting, what you described, just kind of, again, I'm not necessarily going, cover to cover, but just kind of flipping through and looking at tales of transformation, tales of creatures or entities. And again, looking at how the stories flow and how they interact with these kind of elements, to begin to kind of piece together, because Lobazon doesn't have a huge background in the arcane, doesn't have a huge background in the history necessarily of the area, but understands hidden passages and hidden patterns, and sort of folk tales and stories are a place where that kind of secret knowledge or some of those hidden truths can eke out. So that's sort of his approach right now, as kind of as an initial step in trying to figure out what could this be.
Sure.
And I'm happy for that to also be a long-term fade to gray thing if we need to fast forward to.
So no, what I will say is that you actually, you find 3 different stories, one of which is actually incredibly familiar to you. And it is, for lack of a better term, it's a bastardization of the story of the Swarm, the faith that you follow. The Swarm is a well-respected, again, for lack of a better term, cult that operates in this part of the world. I guess you would be better to explain it than I, but fairly benign and friendly individuals who are just kind of going their own way.
The big issue with the Swarm is their insistence that the gods are dead and they have eaten him. That their whatever divine entity they worship either burst forth from the corpses of the dead or long lost gods, or somehow recycled that divinity. That's often the folks who are trying to do the PR spin, speak about the energies being shared out in new ways. But most folks, when they think of the swarm, think of them as like, those are those god eaters.
Yes.
And so, but they are, the faith is very much about being aware of the totality of things, patterns, and how things are connected. Very much about preserving and guarding the natural order, preserving what they see as the swarm's domain. And seeking things that don't fit. That's a big, there's the not all, like with many faiths, there's different permutations and factions and whatnot. Brother Lobazon was an acolyte of an entity called the Orb Weaver, and they very much were about trying to find the aberrations and the things that risk tearing the pattern. And so that's where a lot of Lobazon's training comes from. And so, looking for weird stories of monsters in the night is definitely a part of that training, and
for sure.
Those subconscious fears and things like that.
And what you find, the first thing that you find is another version of a story that at least seems to line up with what you are familiar with. As far as being one of the many legends of recycled divinity, of some massive war with the gods, and then one of the slain gods falling and something anew arising, something fresh, bleeding into the lands, and from the blood of this god arose a forest and trees and rivers and all manner of things, and it became some far-off land. A very common kind of version of that story. You also find another story of transformation, this one specifically relating to, actually the next two are both a little bit more Fae related. The first one is of the eschewing of royalty within the Sealy court, a transition of power not from person to the world, but from person to another person. The death of King Oberon is not an oft-told fairy tale. It kind of holds, I would say, the same kind of provenance that pre-Hades town Orpheus and Eurydice would hold with a lot of people. The third story that you find is actually one relating to doppelgangers. These are entities that can change and shift and, become people within society, frequently for nefarious means. These individuals, both doppelgangers as well as changelings, have been utterly unheard of in decades. Certainly within your lifetime, people have mentioned that nobody has caught one in a long time. For a while there were always rumors, or at least, going back into your parents' generations, at least once a year, something would happen where a changeling would be caught and some awful fate would end up befalling them. Whether or not they intended harm, well, when somebody starts wearing somebody else's face, people get suspicious. But that hasn't happened in decades. So the tome that you are looking at is one of particular age, and seems to have been well worn and well read over the years. And it tells the story of a doppelganger who was trying to do good and do right. But as many folk and fairy tales tend to be, a bad fate awaited him, even though he had the best of intentions. Not really sure what the moral would have been there, but again, these were written in times gone by. Well,
and as Lobazon is reading these things, again, sort of looking for big themes and kind of jotting in a little handbook, kind of either motifs that seem to repeat, ideas to have at hand to be able to call back to should, some discovery later on be able to point in a certain direction.
You pull all of that down. Remind me when we play with the larger group, anything that would relate to any of those stories, I will give you advantage on related checks.
Nice. Yeah. Yay, research.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have a Call of Cthulhu player playing Dungeons & Dragons.
But yeah, that is what you learn from the books in Cecil's Steeping Scrolls.
right.
Do you do anything else before heading back home?
I think that's going to largely be it. Again, getting a sense, particularly now with that information of this, seeing if that speaks to both the absence of the Outriders on this expedition, but also like seeing if there's additional interest, right? Am I noticing, like the Kingsguard seem to be mobilizing in a certain way, or like there seems to be like potentially like other like merchant groups or other folks who are more or less active. Just getting a sense of the flow. Is there a sense of like a bunch of folks are about to go and kind of a boom town situation, or does it seem to be more quiet and a bit of a trickle? So just keeping an eye on that kind of business, and then sort of beginning to think about, all right, if he's going to be away for a period of time, beginning to get business sort of sorted up and end any deliveries, put pauses on mail, things like that.
Absolutely.
And get business settled and ready while going back and reviewing kind of whatever information might be in his own libraries and his own books to kind of cross-reference. Particularly if if there's anything related to magic, that's a big gap. Magic is by nature sort of aberrational, but there's certain ways that it can be can flow nicely with things, and there are ways that it doesn't flow nicely. So that'll be sort of how Lobizan is kind of preparing to transition into helping out the Outriders.
For sure. Got a little bit of time before, the rubber is going to meet the road on this one, so to speak. You're able to, grab a few more things to kind of help keep the hatches battened down while you're away. Maybe a few extra pieces of wood and nails and whatnot. Things to assist in camouflaging your home, which I feel like would be a unnecessary evil of potentially leaving house for a couple of days when you don't live in a city. You want to, by whatever, marauding band may walk by, you want to make sure they don't take notice or think that there is something to gain by trying to break into your home.
Well, and all the little gnomish magics and things like that I'm able to call upon to just divert the eye and the gaze and all those little practice tricks. But otherwise, provisioning, trying to get a sense of if we're going down into the deep, which he's had some experience with, just making sure everything he's got, his boots aren't going to be leaking and all of that. And I think he'll just be preparing himself. I may send word to kind of the closest chapter of the swarm, just relaying this information, relaying my participation, just so they are aware and there's no surprises.
Actually, on that note, you tell me, how close is the nearest chapter?
So, a lot of it's very spread out. So there's a lot of just a lot of folks like me who are just sort of plopped around in different locales. Not, some of them are way out and hard to find crevices, but there are a number that cluster in larger cities. So if there is either a regional capital, I don't know if it would necessarily be the king's own capital itself, but a place like that where, people can blend in and disappear and sort of, go keep an eye on things without necessarily drawing too much attention to themselves. That would probably be the most likely place where there would be the equivalent of, again, not necessarily a monastery, but, someone who acts as a bit of a hub and acts as a way of passing information on to different cells and different folks. Absolutely.
There is a city. It is actually just over the border down south. It's called Tento. Tento. It is kind of the Bering equivalent just down there. And they do not have an Outrider outpost, but they do have a Church of the Swarm. And it's probably not a huge one, but that is, when you want to attend for high holy ceremonies, that's where you're heading.
I guess given the timeline the Seeker gave me, is there enough time for me personally to go, or would I need to find someone to send word to?
It would be tight. You could probably make it work, but that would give you very little time to double back. However, finding somebody to take word for a reasonable price is not difficult. So go ahead and make a persuasion check, honestly, because finding somebody heading south is not an issue.
That's just a 10. That's just a straight 10.
It takes a little longer than you would like to find somebody who is willing to, go to a church that they're not super familiar with. The last thing somebody wants to have happen is be catfished into a proselytization situation. And that is definitely the vibe that you accidentally give off.
That's valid.
But you are able to find somebody for, 3 gold. It's yeah, okay, I'll do it.
All right. Okay. Then once that's settled, I'll just be setting up all the various wards and things and preparing to go into the unknown.
Yeah, you take one last look at Bering as you gather everything you need, and you head back home to prepare for the unknown. The ride is hard. Harper, Arabin, you've never ridden like this before. And Cecil, it was a younger person's body who did this last time. Magic is used on the fly to keep the wagons moving and the horses stable and comfortable. In the end, you make what should have easily been a 3-day journey in half the time.
Ugh.
Arriving in Bering, it's late afternoon. You find the town on the precipice of excitement. The Harvest Festival's drawing near.
We made it for the Harvest Festival.
It's still a little while out. It's still a little while out. Your breakneck speed, plus a delay in shipments from Amosran has actually delayed the festival by a couple of days, but it's giving you time to rest up, go take care of what needs to be done out in the ruins, and be back in plenty of time.
The festival?
The festival.
The festival?
The King's Festival?
The Chili Festival?
You wish to go to the festival.
That fish chili festival.
It's canon, baby.
The King's Fish Chili Festival?
We know the king. We could invite
The
him.
money guy.
The money guy.
Fish, chili, and jart.
Okay, Chase, but a t-shirt that says Bering's Whatevereth Annual Fish, Chili, and Jart Festival?
Hey, girl, you want to come over and fish, chili, and jart?
At the very least, it's one of the two. It's either the Viridian Outriders amateur Jart League jersey, or
But it is a jersey.
And or I guess the town of Bering's 69th annual Fish, Chili, and Jart Festival. So what's the plan? Are we going into a little bit of downtime, or do we need to debrief with the Outriders?
You've got a little bit of downtime as you are all arriving back and reporting in. Seeker Meredith is there and calls the 3 of you over.
Meredith, if it ain't damn good to see you.
And you too, Harper. How the rest of y'all doing?
Ow.
Yeah. We've clearly been better.
It's been 2 days, but somehow Cecil is still hurt.
I mean, it's not like you've had much time to rest up. Luca sent Caraway ahead to fill me in on what happened, and, well,
yeah.
It sounds like y'all took care of business well enough, and he's had me make preparations for the refugees, and, we've got some accommodations around town for them. Filled up what we can do, though, for the time being, so hopefully we'll be able to get them set up and on their way soon enough.
All right.
In the meantime, I did want to let you all know that we're putting the expedition together to go back into those ruins for you. I've got you a fella from a good friend of mine, actually, Brother Lobazon. He'll be meeting you all out there at the ruins in a couple of days.
You got Brother Lobazon? You got him to come out of the woods for this?
He actually came into town.
And then you just happened to run into him, I'm sure.
Oh, no, he stopped in, saw I had a posting up in the scroll. He was there, he saw it, he stopped in. He'll be meeting you all out there in a few days, so.
Delightful.
He lives in the woods?
Oh, yeah.
He is, eccentric.
He's a follower of the Swarm. Those folk tend to keep to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The Swarm?
history, actually religion checks.
I'm regular smart, so I've got a +4 to this.
Cool.
That's a nat 19 for a 23.
Okay.
15.
14.
All of you would have a basic understanding of the swarm, but as this is a Leeman Kessler original, I'm going to just go for his words. Brother Lobazan is a devotee of the Swarm, a mostly tolerated cult that believes that the gods to be well and truly dead, but their divine corpses feed and fertilize the divine interconnected web that they venerate as the Swarm.
My dude, we should talk about tea.
And you would all know that.
And Harper goes, "Oh, that swarm. I honestly thought it was like folktale. I didn't think people actually
he's
believed in that."
He's quite penitent.
All I know is that if Cecil called somebody eccentric, then I'm probably not going to like him.
Oh, he's a good enough sort.
Sure is.
Arabin, who among us is not eccentric by the dictionary definition?
Well, either way, he'll be meeting you all out there. He's good in dark spaces, so he'll be pretty useful to y'all down there.
Good.
All right.
It'll be useful, yes.
I'm assuming that means we're going back down.
We've got a base camp going that has fortified the fallback position of Stewart Bailey. So that is all secured, but the deeper depths that y'all could see from up there, apparently, that still needs some poking around. So
Yes.
We've designated a couple of individual areas you could go ahead and take a look around in, and we've got some folk on site. Some have already left. We'll send a few more in the next day or two, and then ahead of you all, and then you all will leave day after next.
Hey, Griffin.
Yeah.
You remember that Dragon Age Inquisition DLC called The Descent?
I was getting kind of Deep Roads vibes,
Yep.
but yeah, it's very Descent.
Hey, don't
Yeah.
worry, I haven't played that one.
All right.
Hey, you're knocking it out of the park right now, Chase. Great job.
Neat.
Yeah. Just,
Isn't it great when that happens?
Yeah, just need a couple of dwarves that kind of hate each other and kind of don't, and a bunch of zombies.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Look, you already know what's down there.
Yeah, we do.
But we don't know. We know what's down there, but we don't really know what is, really.
I'm
the what?
trying so hard to figure this out. I have so
I
many
know you
theories.
are, Cecil.
So many theories, and none of them are quite right. I need some more information, some more inputs of data points, and then we'll be able to figure this out a bit more. I think, maybe, probably.
I think if you get all the knowledge and then I get all the gear and we give both of those things to Arabin, then we'll be
We
fine.
need one of those spinning tops before we go down there again.
Oh, the spinner? I can talk to Bailey.
Couldn't hurt.
I'm just real worried about... I mean, that thing is a real big double-edged sword,
Sure is.
but it could be nice in a pinch, I
just know
suppose.
that the second we turned it off, the approximations came straight for us.
Yeah,
Yes, this is true.
probably wards them off.
Yeah, well, they're clearly magical.
I'll talk to Bailey, see if I can't requisition it.
Cool. Each of you has time for a thing.
Oh, boy.
What would you like to do?
I don't want to do it, but I know what I have to do.
What's that?
I have to show Dieter around the workshop.
That's so funny, because you know what I was going to do?
What?
An autopsy.
Fuck.
Dang, I was just going to get some tea.
I would like to show Dieter around the workshop, and if I can, Chase,
Yes.
get this fucking breastplate done before I go on expedition.
Sure.
And maybe I can recruit Dieter in that as like a way to help get him acclimated to a workspace again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he has like smithing experience, but like I'm like a third of the way done through this breastplate, and I would really like my armor to be ready before going back down into the deep dark cave.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that a whole lot.
Okay, that makes sense. And you do have a couple of days here to do that, so I'll give you a few stabs at it.
Okay.
So you're going to show Dieter around. Arabin, what are you doing?
Much to my chagrin.
Can I, if Cecil's going to do an autopsy, can I be with them there? Because I am also interested in what's going on with these guys.
Absolutely, you can.
And do you know where we do autopsies?
The basement.
The basement.
The whole thing's a basement. Does the basement have a basement?
It's wild seeing that on a coworker's water bottle at work.
Choice.
Do love
Thank
that.
you, Katie.
I don't think we should turn this guy into tea straight away.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't make this one tea.
It's part of the testing process.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't have another way to figure out what is inside of him until I use what's inside of him to make the tea, and then the tea will give us the answers.
But Balolin just tasted so good.
You know, I think we learned something about Balolin that day, and that is that even an evil man can have a good heart. And maybe he really did want a better home for the creatures that, no, this is full of shit. I don't know why it tasted as good as it did. Sweet revenge, probably.
I hate that your method of, like, investigation on this, Cecil, weirdly makes sense.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Something affected them and turned them into whatever they are now. So we're going to use whatever they turned into to make some tea and kind of see what happens.
Like, remember that time where you were like, tea solves has all the answers, and I was like, no, it doesn't. And like, I'm actively being proven wrong right now.
It's a good time. You don't have to drink it first.
I'm not gonna.
You know what? We're gonna make. You know who's gonna do it first? We're gonna make Bailey do it first. He'll drink it first.
Hell yeah! Now that I'm in on. All right, and then when Bailey dies, we can do.
No one's going to die.
Okay. I will do science on the tea, though. That sounds like fun.
We will do scientific.
Scientific.
That sounds scientific.
I didn't think a talk about tea could get that dark. And that's coming from me.
The most realistic element of this entire interaction is that there is just a guy in your immediate group who has never been anything but nice to all of you that you just dunk on relentlessly.
Who, Bailey? Yeah, absolutely. Bailey's such a fucking square.
We don't even know what his first name is.
It's Elijah.
It's Stuart.
No, it's Stuart.
I'm going to bed.
We are actively, like, every time we're bullying Bailey, we're actually bullying Chase a little bit.
A little bit.
Because we're dunking, we have chosen this NPC to be our fucking punching bag for no fucking reason.
Although on the way back, like, I did sort of tell Stuart Bailey more about my amulet than I've told either of you.
Oh, shit. And for what it's worth, Bailey did come in clutch during the saving of that burning building. So, like, not for nothing, Bailey did help out.
So it's so the tea would be a reward.
Yes.
It's like a reward.
Anyway.
We're going to start off in the workshop.
Oh, God.
All right, Dieter.
Harper, it's been... How long do you put this off?
Probably not long, because I want to get to work, and I know I'm not going to get any effective work done, because I'm going to have Luca breathing down my neck to get this done. It's like, I need to get this out of the way so I can actually do the shit that I want to do.
Sure. So yeah, Dieter is kind of following behind you.
I'm assuming he's gonna have like quarters in the crypt.
Yeah, there are bunks.
Yeah. All right, Dieter. So welcome to Bearing. We'll get you settled, and then you can get your bearings. Huh? Is that why it's called that? And I lead him down to the crypt.
Yeah, it was. It was named Bearing because people would get lost on the road all the time coming up from a Mosrin.
Well, I'll be. As we're walking through a fucking graveyard to the crypt that leads down to the Outrider outpost.
Okay.
So this is the crypt. You know, it's kind of Outrider tradition that outposts and safe houses and things like that they're meant to blend in and not be like overtly noticeable, with the exception being that one outpost in the seat.
Right.
That's sort of like HQ. So come on down, we'll get you a bunk and I'll kind of show you around the space.
Actually, that kind of leads me to a question I've been meaning to ask for a while. Where the fuck does Harper live?
I think at this point, considering Harper's been in town for probably like 5 years, she's been with the Outriders for upwards of 5 years.
Sure.
She probably has an apartment somewhere. Like just a little place, maybe above like, I don't know, a bookstore or something. Like just one of the like more permanent, kind of like how Cecil has, you know, their shop. I imagine there's like a few or a small amount of like permanent.
For sure.
Like residential or like commercial places.
I think Harper.
Actually. Or what do you have? Because I also have a thought.
Above a blacksmith's.
I was thinking, honestly, more of like a general store because that's what her parents did.
Oh, sure.
And I think that helps her feel maybe a little bit close to home.
The building is stone. I think that was important for Harper because Harper works with a lot of things that end up getting dropped. And if you drop some things on wood, it's not good.
Yeah.
You head down into the crypt. I think there is a moment of joy, ever so slight and fleeting, just because walking into the crypt for the first time is pretty impressive. And getting to see that on somebody else's face is fun.
Yeah, Harper's thinking a lot about what Lucas said and how, like, Meredith did not skip a beat in taking me under her wing. And I've been maybe not a mix of inwardly and outwardly, but has been a little hard on Dieter just because he's been through a rough time. So Harper's trying to take this with some fresh eyes.
Yeah. Okay, so what do I do?
Well, I imagine that, so, you know, organizational structure, Luca is our high captain. I imagine, based on your skill set, you're going to be kind of, you know, doing what I do, working as a crafter. You know, probably some small odd jobs here and there as you're getting started.
Sure.
But, you know, we'll get you acquainted, get you, you know, properly inducted to the Bearing Crypt, and we're going on expeditions, so that we're not going to be short on things to do. So,
okay.
Let's just start simple. Let's just get you... I'll show you around my workspace, and we can kind of go from there.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, we find him like a bunk and things like that, and like, you know, this is the barracks, here's the canteen, that's Luca's office. Here's my workshop. Everything's a little small.
I honestly would have been surprised if it wasn't.
Right. But, you know, there's some other makers in town, so like, you know, if there's any specialty needs,
yeah,
go to Pierre, or, you know.
I mean, I guess I'll kind of take a day or two and figure things out and see what needs to be made.
Sure. Obviously, like, I saw your work already, but, like, do you do, like, carpentry? Do you do smithing? Like, masonry?
Mostly, like, as far as the more mundane things, I'm a decent hand at detail work, blacksmithing-wise.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I put myself through school down south, you know, just working at a blacksmith's and sharpening blades and whatnot. I can, you know... I'm a fine hand at all that. I mean, obviously, I'd rather be doing higher level stuff, but...
Oh, well, sure.
But it takes a while to be able to get to... And he just gestures at Ignis.
Sure. I mean, I spent, I don't know, 3 years, give or take, just getting him up off the ground, so...
Where'd you study?
You know... self-taught.
At that, he like, draws himself up to his, like, full, like... elvish height, and he's got like a blonde mohawk thing going on, so he is tall compared to you, and just looks down and is like, you taught yourself to do that?
I mean, I've always been handy, and...
Harper, that's not handy. That's a fucking miracle.
Well, you know, it's not... I didn't do it all myself. I mean, like Meredith, the person I work for with the Outriders mostly, she she helped me out a lot. She talked to me about, like, magic and sort of, like, everything having sort of, like, an inner fire and how to coax that out. And, it was just a lot of reading, a lot of failing, There's a lot of Ignis scrap lying around here still.
He walks over to a couple of pieces and is like, I'm good. Huh.
You alright, Dieter?
Yeah, I'm just, a lot of thoughts all at once.
I get that.
Thank you, Harper. I will, I think I'm gonna go lie down for a little bit, if that's okay.
Sure. Absolutely. Grab yourself something to eat. Mm-hmm. Food's actually pretty good here.
Oh, real hot meals. Oh, I've missed those. I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah. If you're looking for something to keep your hands busy later, come find me. I got a rush job I gotta get done, so...
Okay.
I could use an extra set of hands, and I think it falls enough in your bailiwick.
Yeah, sure.
All right, but yeah, go catch. That was a hard ride. Go catch some Z's.
Yeah, I'm gonna food then sleep, food and sleep, and he walks out mumbling to himself.
Now I'm just confused. Is his first name Bailey and his last name's Wick? Is he related to John Wick?
Ooh.
I mean, I was gonna make the same joke. I can't be too mad.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, Chase, can I take a day and make a roll on my breastplate?
You may, and I will let you make that roll at advantage because after a sleep and an awake, he will absolutely help you out with that.
Cool. Metal dice for metalworking. Let's go, baby. It's okay. It's okay. It's not great.
Come on, Dieter.
It's okay.
Come on, Dieter. Don't turn into Bailey.
It's been a long time since he's done armor work.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
A 15.
Okay. Where does that put you?
That puts me at 35.
35. All right. So you're another 15 away.
One other thing I would like to do, just components-wise.
Yes.
I have one of those spells that requires, like, a particular component. I would like to spend, if I can, 100 gold, either on materials to make or just to purchase, 2 platinum rings.
Sure. Oh, yeah, that one. That makes sense.
Yeah. 2 rings, 50 each.
I will give you an option. You can buy the materials and make it for 100 gold.
Okay.
Or you can buy the rings outright for 200, and you can spend another day to work on your breastplate.
Well, we've established that this Sleeping Scrolls makes like 100 gold and overhead each week, so we could just pull from the coffers.
No, hold the fuck on.
Compromise, because, like, can I buy the mats now and work on it later?
Yes, you could definitely do that.
Then I'll buy the raw platinum for 100 gold, and I will make it when I have time.
Yeah, go ahead and make me one more roll at advantage because Dieter's helping.
I need a 15, gang.
Come on.
I need an 8 or higher.
Come on, metal dice.
That's real good odds on it with advantage.
16 nat. So
the breastplate is done. Woo. The tin can is tinnier and cannier.
Yes.
Trash talking tin can.
But you lose your disadvantage now?
My AC stays the same, but I no longer have disadvantage on stealth checks.
Hell yes.
And my scale mail goes in the trash.
Flipping back.
No, it doesn't. It goes into Ignis for later.
Yeah, it goes into the Iggy.
Arabin and Cecil. You approach Cecil's steeping scrolls. I imagine at first from the front, because Cecil does need to make an entrance to return.
I do have to go back inside. Arabin will, I'm not sure where the corpses ended up. If you want to get them into the basement, that would be great. Yeah. Let me just check and make sure that the shop's okay. And then I guess, I've got to dig out that old report on the Urksang incident. Yeah, if you want to handle that, and then I'll meet you down there in a bit.
Sure. I pick up the body and sling it over my shoulder.
It was here the whole time.
Oh, did we not take it with us? Like,
I just assumed it was on a cart somewhere. Like it had been hidden somewhere, and you had to go get it.
Rather than hauling a corpse around town.
It's got some stank on it.
Gentle repose only does so much.
Arabin, there's a plinth down there. If you just want to get it set up down there on that plinth, and then I'll be down and we can start figuring out what to do with it.
All right.
Thank you. Go inside. Well, I would like to make a stealth check.
Okay. This is going to be at disadvantage.
Fair. So that gets rid of the natural 20.
Uh-huh.
So otherwise that is a 11.
Okay.
I try to look in the. I'm just try to look in the windows and see what it's going on before I go inside.
I have rolled a natural 1. So what you see is barely controlled chaos, but it is controlled as Eva is coordinating 3 of her other friends from the little halfway home that Katie and the rest of them live in, as there are customers that you're a little disappointed. You know they wouldn't be acting this way if you were there.
Sure wouldn't.
One of those kinds of situations. But they do seem to have a handle on things. Eva seems to keep ducking her head up, looking up over the line like somebody looking for a lifeboat in a drowning situation, like any retail person has done looking for their manager on a really busy day. We all been there. We know that vibe. And but she is not catching sight of you because she is just so buried in the work.
Cecil's steeping scrolls for wayward children.
It was almost going to be Cecil's keeping scrolls for gifted youngsters, but
also good.
Also, both are true. Both are accurate. Both are exactly
for level 0 adventurers.
Both exactly what Cecil's going for. Cecil gestures over to Katie. Katie, they could use some help.
You're not going to go in?
Oh no, I am. I've just got to go find a very, very old report and then go deal with the body.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I'll cover.
Thank you.
I'm gonna roll for 1 second. I'm rolling for brashness.
Katie.
Yeah?
Flip the cape.
She's got her little half cape on. She flips it. And then she kicks the door in. All right. What the heck is going on here? Lewis, I know you know better than that.
Katie, you were in a fight. You can say hell now.
Fuck yeah. All of her friends look to her, joy in their eyes, as Katie takes the stage and starts getting things in order. You may now roll your stealth check normally in order to get upstairs.
Okay, great.
Because they are not actively looking for you.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Woo-hoo! That's what the natural 20 is for.
You slip upstairs.
Yeah, I just need to find the report wherever it is. Because I'm sure Cecil kept a copy, because of course they did. You know what? Actually, no. Cecil knows exactly where this report is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a big enough moment in his life. He knows exactly where this folder is.
Where does Cecil keep this one?
This folder is under his bed.
You reach under the bed and you pull out the report regarding the Erskine device, otherwise known as the Erskine incident, where the crowned prince of this country nearly died in your arms after something went terribly, terribly wrong.
Cecil kind of takes a couple minutes and collects themselves and flips through well-worn pages that they could probably recite from memory as a refresher, but kind of gets things back in order and then heads down to the basement. Arabin? Are you here?
Quick rewind. Arabin. You wheel the cart, which is laden with the body, But in addition to the body, multiple like sacks of of tea leaves and flour and tiny mushrooms that are not yet pinked because they haven't been pickled yet.
And Arabin is just whistling to avoid suspicion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's for some reason an octave lower than it should be.
Do it, Justin.
Yeah, you get the door open and you make your way down. Arriving down, you realize that there is another individual down here. It looks like another one of the kids from the halfway house is down here. So here's the question. Did you start hauling the body down?
Absolutely. It was the first thing I grabbed. But I assume it's covered in like a tarp or something. Like
Sure. You got some burlap over it.
Yeah, it is still a body-shaped burlap sack, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yup.
It's a young human by the name of Rose White.
Hey.
Oh. Hey.
Just dropping off some tea.
Deception check.
This sucks.
19.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Hell yes.
You heft it down in such a way that it does not have the characteristic body thud of 250 pounds of muscle and armor. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
big shipment.
Wait, is Cecil back?
Maybe somewhere. I haven't seen
cool.
them.
Cool. Yeah, I know Eva's been looking forward to everybody. Ooh, Katie's back too then. Nice.
Yeah, you should probably get back upstairs. Like now.
I'm gonna roll an insight check on that. Wow, I got this new, like, very nice metal dice. I've been rolling 7s like crazy.
Woohoo!
Yeah, probably. All right, well, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Arabin.
Right, Arabin. Rose White. Nice to meet you. And they head back upstairs.
That was a close one.
Arabin, you down there?
Yeah.
All right. I see steps out of the way of Rose White going upstairs. Oh, Arabin, I see you're making friends with the students already. You know, I've wanted to ask if you wanted to come on board to Cecil Styles' School for Gifted Students.
Fuck.
But you don't strike me as a kid person. Guess you're not that tall. You're not that much older than some of them, huh? Well,
I think I'm a bit beyond your little preschool.
Well, no, I meant like you would teach them.
Anyway, I got your shipment of tea over here.
That's very nice. Is it the regular tea or the special order?
It's the special order. It was the first thing I brought in.
Arabin, did you scar another 13-year-old? Irreparably?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Okay, that's probably good. Yes, that's probably good. Rose White doesn't do much more than bussing the tables, but they're good for it. So, right, let's get the rest, and then we'll get to work here.
You get the rest of the materials brought down, and I imagine there is some kind of a latch that you throw on the cellar doors to keep out interlopers.
Keep out the wayward children. All right, we set the body up on the, I'm going to keep calling it a plinth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you helped last time, right?
Did I help? Or did I just sort of get in place?
A little bit of everything. So there's gloves over there. Might want them. We take all the armor off and, set possessions to the side. That can be something else to look at. I don't know if this is going to be like a series of medicine checks or if I'm just going to describe what we are doing to try to find things or how you want to do this, Chase.
Let's go ahead and let's do a medicine check at advantage.
Okay.
Because you've got Arabin helping.
17.
Okay. With a 17, you are able to get the chest cavity open. And, I mean, what are you looking for at this point?
Looking for abnormalities, looking for anything that seems like it could have been enhanced, body part that could have been enhanced, or maybe if anything was implanted, or maybe if there's residue from an enchantment that should or should not be there. I guess, so I do also have, detect magic and all of that. So I can kind of be double, like actually doing the medical exam of it, but then also with Araben's help, be on the lookout for magical, I don't know. Once we get all of this done, we are going to bury it in that patch of dirt over there, and we are going to grow some tea.
Araben, what are you keeping an eye out for?
I'm sort of looking at the body, trying to see if it looks any different than normal human organs.
Sure.
I also surreptitiously take my sword and sort of like dab a little bit of blood on it.
Sure.
So that it can absorb into it and see if anything happens.
Absolutely. That first part of what you were looking for, Araben, actually lines up perfectly with what Cecil ends up finding. Because as you two open the chest cavity and actually look at the body, the organs, you see that these are not the organs of somebody who is in there, by the look of their face, maybe late 30s, early 40s. This is the body of someone who has been run through the fucking ringer. Their heart is weak and malformed. Their stomach is basically non-existent. Their intestines are cracked and hard in a way that bodies are not supposed to be. Lines of scarring are just running rampant all over this guy's innards.
Thinking back on the actual incident, was an autopsy done then?
I'm going to roll a die. I'm going to give you even odds on that.
All right. I pick evens.
You pick evens, okay. Inexplicably, I have rolled my third 7 of the night.
Oh my god. Man. Hey, but 3 7s on a slot machine is great.
Hey.
Yeah, let's go to the casino.
So, if an autopsy was done, you were not a part of the party that did that.
Okay.
That
so
I
was just trying to figure out if I had something to compare this to.
Yeah.
So,
what I will say with a 17, you have heard of studies of people who essentially cast enchantment spells and buff spells on them constantly. People who have haste cast on them for weeks at a time. Yeah, people who have things like enlarge, reduce. People who are, essentially out of their proportion, who have high level or at least high intensity magic running on them, extended periods of time. This is not dissimilar to that.
Sure, that makes sense.
Like the body is not meant to handle that.
This is not what I was expecting to see.
I don't know what I was expecting to see, but unfortunately, nothing good comes of this thing. The Erskine device, or whatever we'll call it, whatever it truly is, who knows? It twisted and corrupted, but it also gave power, but it also did this.
These guys looked like they should have died on their own, and yet they were fighting like they were in their prime.
Yes. I think that's the double-edged sword here. If you give up whatever time you have left for this, and who knows, maybe they can only last so long after they're exposed, or maybe they need constant exposure or treatment from a device or whatever. But we thought the device exploded, so maybe someone recreated it, or enough of a formula survived, or notes or research, or it was very, very messy. It was very, very messy. And The prince almost died that day, and when a prince almost dies, everything has to get written up very carefully, and it is the most important thing that happened that day, even if it wasn't. It was a very messy day. And that actually, Arabin, is the last time I was in the field until, well, a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah. I understand that this was a very traumatizing experience for you the first time. But if we don't find out where this is coming from, and more importantly, if we don't destroy it, it wouldn't just be a prince almost dying. It's going to be town after town after town. Total destruction.
Oh, I have no intention of letting this go, Arabin Cronin, and you're going to help me. Let's make some tea. So we move the body. We document.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also pull some vials of... can we still get blood out of a corpse at this point? I'm not sure.
They just did gentle repose on the bodies to stop them from decomposing on the way home.
Yeah, before you describe the organs, I was thinking that there would at least be some blood in the organs.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely some blood in there, and to that point, Arabin, it is while Cecil is pulling, a couple of vials of blood that you are able to sneak a moment. I will say that it is a small enough action, and Cecil, I imagine, would be fully engrossed that you don't need to do we don't need to do the rigmarole of a stealth check here. You're able to just get, there's enough blood, you can get a little on your sword, and it drinks it so fast. Arabin, it barely touches it and it's gone.
So did you notice that blood I just put on the sword?
I felt the intention coming. Went quick.
Yeah. Do you get any sort of sense from it? Are you able to do that?
Yes and no. I don't have to tell you that these things are fiendishly inspired. Kindred spirits, of course.
I just don't understand. Are these...
What don't you understand?
Are these things human, or are they demons?
They were human. Definitely human at some point. Well, humanoid. I think there might have been one that was an elf back there. That's the one whose head you blew off. But no, they're not anymore. Something in between.
What kind of thing could have turned them into this?
Well, apparently that Erskine device. Clever thing, apparently. No clue what that could have been, though. Predates me being in the area.
We need to find this thing.
I couldn't agree more, Arabin Cronin.
Arabin, can you help me with the body? We're gonna put it over in the dirt now.
Yeah, coming.
We take the pieces and whatever's left and dig a very shallow grave.
The bones of a certain individual are still in there. Some of them have began to disintegrate on their own. This is a intentionally desiccating environment. So there are not many big pieces left, but piece of the skull cavity hanging around in there, chunk of a femur.
I move most of the bones remaining of Ballo over to a separate area, which is more just I don't know what the trash pile of a room like this is, but it's that.
I want to take the femur chunk.
Okay, you can have the femur chunk. That's great. I was actually going to. I take the skull fragment and I hang it on the wall.
That's a warning.
Y'all nasty. Y'all just nasty.
Look, I like little keepsakes.
Bruh.
I cast minor illusion on the skull to make it look like the full skull. Hang it out up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we bury the body. I get some tea leaves that we found. I'm going to call it Corpse's Caffeine.
Awake the dead.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's what I'm looking to maybe see if I can figure out how to do.
Okay.
gosh dang it.
So we will bury the body. We will plant the tea, see what we can get from it. It is a tea that Cecil knows, so that they would be able to tell the difference that they get out of this corpse from whatever infernal magical energy is remaining. And then I'm just going to blow the big gun, and we're going to cast Wither and Bloom at 3rd level.
Ooh, okay.
Just to really speed up this process.
All right, I want you to make me I know this isn't how this works. I want you to make me a spell attack.
Sure. Do I get anything for upcasting? Do you know?
I will lower the DC of what I'm looking for.
Cool. 25.
Okay, fine. You are able to, as it blooms, you see there is a moment where the air down here becomes rank. Not with the desiccation of a body, but with the exhalation of something fetid and withered within the corpse itself. If you rolled less than a 15, this tea would have been bad. Less than a 10, it would have been straight up poison.
R.I.P. Stuart Bailey.
But with a 25, you can tell that after you air this out a little bit, this is going to be pretty good.
Arabin, I believe our work here is done.
Oh, that tea's going to be spicy. I know it.
Yes. And maybe we'll learn something. One can only hope. How you doing, Arabin?
Me? I'm fine.
You're a very good liar.
This is fine.
That's not what I meant.
I've dealt with bodies before.
Yep, and towns burning and nearly dying. It's been quite the 4 days.
Yeah, it's surely been an experience. Not one that I would really want to relive.
It's fair. That's fair. When you've seen as many things as I have, sometimes you just get numb to it. So just don't let that happen.
Well,
you need to care. It should hurt. It should be a lot.
I've definitely also seen some things, but it does still hurt.
I'm sorry, but that's good.
Maybe in some ways.
It's motivation, if nothing else.
I guess there's
means you're sticking around for a little longer?
Yeah. I've got to make some good come from this bad.
Yes. It's a fine way of putting it. I'd like to get out of this basement now. It smells. It's very bad.
Yeah, it stinks.
Yep. I turned the vent system on that Harper installed for me.
Sorry, bud. I'm not that good. And unfortunately, my cool magic candle that I enchanted for you did wear off since I did a lot of cool party tricks on the road.
Tricks on the road, yeah. I don't know. I honestly, at this point, I figure I could say, yeah, this thing that Harper made me, and, like 50-50.
We did make treadmills a thing.
I do have a treadmill desk. Yes, I do have a very good treadmill desk.
I'll work on an HVAC system for the crypt.
I mean,
Thank
maybe
you.
something
Appreciate
with
it.
magnets. Who knows?
In this economy?
In this economy, I just spent 100 gold on platinum, homie. You think I can buy a fucking... You think I can afford magnets?
You think this girl's got lodestone money?
They're called rare earth magnets. Like, when they're not just lying around.
Harper could start a shell phone business. I think it would take off.
Shell phone scams.
Mint Mobile.
Beatles.
Mini mobile.
The three of you rest up for 2 days. You are able to complete whatever work needs to be done in order to secure your new fertilizer and make sure that no wayward teens will end up accidentally digging it up. And also finish that work on the breastplate. Dawn rises all too early, the morning of your departure. The three of you gather outside the crypt and, with a look and a shrug, once again venture into the Midwood. Thank you for joining us here on Another Path. You can find our website and merch store at anotherpathpodcast.com, on Twitter at anotherpathpod, and our network at ghostlightmedia.net. You can support our efforts by donating at patreon.com/ghostlightmedia, or by giving us a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher will let you. You can also find me on Twitter at TQLoudly, Griffin at GriffCold, and Ryan at RyanRoll20. You can find Justin on TikTok at JustJustinMichael, and myself at TQLoudly. You can find Leeman and his wide variety of projects at www.leemankessler.com. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode, and until then, remember to clean up before you leave town. This has been a Ghostlight Media production.